I like to wait to the end to perform this next action, but I really have to just kind of break some of the rules and allow this to occur right now. I definitely have to offer salutation to the choir. It was incredible. So obviously, I think Mary Murphy and the entire choir, just listening to the readings and the song that accompanied those readings, the psalms after some of the readings, just magnificent. So clearly, you can feel the energy, you can feel the power. And we got to the Gloria, and we turned on the lights. You could just feel the resurrection of Christ. I love starting this night off in darkness. And then you just go through that time of darkness. You listen to those readings of imprisonment of the Egyptians and how they were able to be freed. And you say to yourself, that is absolutely magnificent. So what I'd like to do tonight is kind of harness some of that energy. You know, they say that glass can actually shatter, precipitated by certain noises. It turns out to be that it's dependent upon the resonance of glass. So if a certain sound hits glass, and glass can vibrate, if there's a flex to it, it will not shatter, probably. If the glass is tight, there isn't any flex to it, and a certain sound will hit that glass, the glass can, in fact, shatter. So I'd like to see if we could do that tonight. Now, maybe this has been done before here at St. Margaret Mary, and if it has, and if it's been successful, then we're just going to repeat success, which is always a good thing. If it hasn't been done before and we're successful, then that's a good thing as well. And if we're not successful, at least we can relish the fact that we tried. So what I'm going to say is, Jesus is risen. I'm going to want you to say hallelujah, and we'll see if we can shatter this glass. We have replacement insurance, so we'll be replacing it. No big deal. So let's try it. Jesus is risen. Hallelujah. Oh, that didn't work. Jesus is risen. Hallelujah. Maybe a little louder. I don't even see a crack. Jesus is risen. Hallelujah. Well, that didn't work. You know, Jesus has risen. So the question I have to ask is, where is he? Where is Jesus tonight? And hopefully you can sit there and say that he is in my heart. That's where he should be. He should be in your heart and governing your life. Where was Jesus this morning? Was he in your heart? Was he in your actions? Where was Jesus yesterday morning when you were driving to work? Was he in your car with you? Was he in your heart? Was he in your gestures? Was he in your actions? And was he in your reactions? Because it's usually when we react to something that usually we display attributes that are not Christian. When we react to something that riles us up, that is usually not a very good Christian display. So it turns out to be, as we ask that question, Jesus is risen, and where is he? You know, when I was a little boy and you go into religion classes, and even something you were taught by your parents, the nuns used to say, where is Jesus? And the answer you would give back, he's everywhere. God is everywhere. Well, is that true? Yes, God is everywhere. Is Jesus, who is also God, is he everywhere? Sometimes I think the answer they gave us, that he's everywhere, I think it's wrong. I don't think that's accurate. Because I believe at times he isn't everywhere. I'll show you what I mean. There is these two little boys. Jesus is risen. Hallelujah. What time is it? Jesus is risen. Hallelujah. Jesus is risen. Hallelujah. You know, there's two little boys, Jimmy and Johnny. And these guys, they were just incorrigible. These guys are just troublemakers. They were nice little boys. They looked cute, but that's basically where it ended. And their mom was just having a hard time with these two fellas. She just couldn't get these two guys to behave. Jimmy and Johnny, boy, together. She'd pull out her hair. Finally, in desperation, she said to herself, I'm going to go down and ask Father down at our parish priest, if Father would be good enough to talk to my two boys, Jimmy and Johnny. She went down to the parish house, knocked on the door, priest came to the door. She said, Father, I'm having a really hard time with Jimmy and Johnny. Would you be good enough to talk to Jimmy and Johnny? Oh yeah, I'll talk to them. I'll try to offer them some wisdom. She said, because these guys are incorrigible, Father. There's nothing I can do that seems to straighten these guys out. Oh yeah, bring them down. Bring them down tomorrow around 10 o'clock. Oh great, Father, I'll be there. So the next day, a little bit before 10 o'clock in the morning, Mom shows up at the parish office, Jimmy and Johnny. She knocks on the door, and Father opens up the door and invites them in. He says to the mom, you stay right here, out here in the waiting room, and I want to bring Jimmy and Johnny into the office. So he brings Jimmy and Johnny into the office, and he puts them down in two chairs, and he sits behind his desk on his nice, big, comfortable chair. And he looks at Jimmy and Johnny. He said, Jimmy and Johnny, I'm going to ask you guys one question. Where is God? Now, Jimmy looked at Johnny. They actually looked at each other. They didn't have an answer. Father said, Jimmy and Johnny, I'm going to ask you guys again, where is God? And they looked at each other, and they still didn't have an answer. And Father said, fellas, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you one more time. Then I'm going to leave the room. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think about it. Then I'm going to come back into the room, and when I come back, I want you guys to have an answer for me. And so Father said to Jimmy and Johnny, where is God? And with that, Father left the room. Well, when he left the room, Jimmy looked at Johnny and said, uh-oh, God's missing, and I think Father wants to blame us. You know, sometimes God is missing. Jesus has risen.
Hallelujah!
And when he's around, sometimes he isn't in our hearts. You know, is he everywhere? The answer to that question is this. The nuns used to say, and those who taught us religion, God is everywhere, Jesus is everywhere. I say to myself, that's a great answer. I'm not sure if that's absolutely correct. Jesus is wherever you want him to be. And he isn't where you don't want him to be. And if you say to yourself, I'm going to seal my heart off, and I don't want Jesus in my heart today, and the actions I portray, and the things that I say, and the things that I do will not reflect the Christian attribute and attitude, then Jesus is not in you that day, that very moment. He's not there. He can't force himself into your heart. He can't force himself into your body, into your life. And therefore, he's locked out. So, when you leave Mass tonight and you drive home, will your gestures and your attitudes reflect attitudes and gestures of Christ? When you go about your workday come Monday and Tuesday, will what you say to someone at work or some stranger at the store or the fellow in front of you who decided to slow down at the yellow light rather than speed up, forcing you to stop, what will be your reaction to that? Will you have a Christian reaction thinking, well, he did the right thing. He stopped. I stopped. He kept us all safe. Or will your reactions be a tad different, gesturing something that isn't Christ-like? I guess that's right. Jesus has resurrected. Hallelujah! I didn't say risen. But Jesus is among us, and I hope and pray that he will be in your heart and in your life, so that wherever you go, you're a representative of Christ. When people know you belong to this church, St. Margaret and Mary, if we have visitors here tonight, obviously welcome. But if they know you're a Catholic or they know you're a Christian and you're walking around out in the world, what you display, they're going to look and say, oh, that's what it means to be a Christian. Look how nice he acts. Or they might say, that's what it means to be a hypocrite. Because he does one thing on Sunday for 1 hour and something else the rest of the time. Where is Jesus? Well, the answer is this. He's where you want him to be. And he isn't where you don't want him to be. Jesus is risen. Hallelujah! Jesus is risen. Hallelujah! Shout out those windows, Jesus is risen. Hallelujah!